My beloved Madridistas, welcome back to Madrid. Welcome back to the channel. Another victory, sort of 3 out of 3 in the Champions League. Last night makes 11 victories in 12 matches. But why don't I feel good about this? Why, on paper, this is all great, but why do I not feel particularly good about this? There's something missing in this team still. I don't know. I have a feeling that, this is a team that has a lot of bark, but not so much bite. This was, a kind of okay match that started very slowly. We, kind of did a little bit better as the game went on. A 1-0, look, we did deserve the victory. We created more chances, and all of that is good and fine. A wonderful goal, great play by Vini and Jude in the right place at the right time. We did deserve the victory. Don't get me wrong, but just something is missing. Why does it take so long to score a goal? We create so many chances, but I don't know why we're having so much difficulty scoring. I want to give you my thoughts on the match, individual players, etc. I wanted to dedicate the thumbnail to Arda Güler because I think at this point he deserves it. Arda is absolutely incredible, magnificent player. He is really the heart and soul of this team at the moment. So I wanted to recognize that in the thumbnail. Anyway, let me give you my thoughts on this match and players, etc. Ahead of the Clasico. Let me give you my thoughts. Anyway, thanks for joining me as always. Let's get started. Welcome back. All right, let me give you my thoughts on the match last night. Now, let's start with the lineup. Now, the lineup that Xabi Alonso came out with was, almost exactly what I had mentioned in my preview. I had Mastantuono up there, but I did make it very clear that I thought that there would be a very good chance that Brahim could play, and in fact, that's what Xabi Alonso did. I think that Xabi has a very clever way of keeping all the key players involved. I mean, obviously there are players like Enrique that, and Gonzalo who have practically played, haven't played at all. But the sort of senior players, so to speak, he does have a very clever way of keeping all of them sort of on their toes, because I thought it was very clever to play Brahim yesterday to keep him focused and hungry. But the lineup, again, unsurprising. This is pretty much all we could do. He chose Asensio in the back. That was the normal thing to do, to have him in the back with Militao. So I'm generally, in terms of the lineup, I don't have any issues. I'm kind of happy with the rotations that Xabi is making. Now, look, in terms of the match itself, look, the first 20, 25 minutes were poor. I thought, the ball circulation was very slow. We looked very predictable. Juve, I thought they escaped our pressure quite easily. When we tried to press them high, they didn't look particularly bothered. Real Madrid sort of, we kind of tried, but again, everything looked very, very predictable. Now, Juve did, this was a bit of a back and forth, and Juve had a very good chance in the 8th minute. Asensio saved the day there. We had another they also had a chance in the 14th minute with a great save from Courtois. Now, after about the sort of 25th minute, our play did start to sort of improve. We started to push forward, creating more chances, a ton of corner kicks. I can't remember last time I saw so many corner kicks. I felt like Arda Güler was exhausted just taking corners, because he's taking both. He takes them on the right and the left, which is a bit odd. Usually teams alternate, have different players for each side. But no, we were pushing forward, creating millions of corners that Arda had to take, all of them. But, we did start to create chances. So I would say the last sort of 20 minutes of the first half, we looked a little bit better. Arda started to take over the midfield. I think had an absolutely exceptional match. He's absolutely everywhere. Not just, stealing balls and pressing, but also in creation. He just did a wonderful job in the middle of the pitch yesterday. Carrera started to push up a little bit and participate in attack. So we started to create chances, but like I say, none of these things go in. It's just so frustrating. I don't know why our efficacy is so low this season. It's a very, very strange. In the second half, it was, again, a bit of back and forth at the beginning of the second half. In the 51st minute, you had that really crazy one-on-one with Vlahovic. Went incredible save by Courtois. Now, Militao, in that sprint with Vlahovic, I think if they had only operated on one of his knees, he would have maybe caught up. But you're talking about a guy that's had 2 knee operations, both knees. So I think he did a phenomenal job of running with Vlahovic and keeping pressure on Vlahovic without fouling him, because that would have been a red card. But I think Militao did it, but who, by the way, had an incredible match. I thought Militao was absolutely amazing yesterday. But that was a very clear chance for Juventus. Again, Real Madrid continued to push forward, trying to create chances, and Juve sort of looking to catch us on the break. The goal finally came in the 57th minute. Bini, who had been pretty much, I would say, non-existent, because he really disappeared for massive stretches at a time last night. But all of a sudden, this is Vini, right? He doesn't do anything, and all he needs is one chance, and he turns the game around. And that's exactly what happened. Fantastic play by Vini. And, of course, Jude in the right place at the right time. Now, when Jude plays that sort of number 10 position, he takes advantage of that middle channel and loves to get into the box and is very good at finishing when he has a chance. Great goal. Now, after the goal, we did start to sort of tighten the screws, and we start to look a little bit looser. We continue to create chances. In the 70th minute, there was a double chance, and Di Gregorio, I mean, what a night he had. I mean, he saved some absolutely incredible situations. So we could have definitely scored another goal. But again, just we're lacking efficiency up front. We just don't have that bite. I don't know why we just don't have that bite. I think in other years, last night we would have scored 4. It's very strange and very frustrating. In the 71st minute, we had another very good chance. Brahim, a very good shot. Now in the 73rd minute, Arda Güler was substituted, and I do understand this, even though he was our best player, him and Militao. But he did look very, very tired because he ran the entire match, and his effort defensively was so generous. So Arda Güler was fried, and I think that this was a change that had to be made because he was just exhausted. And I also want to mention the massive standing ovation that Arda Güler got in the Bernabeu yesterday. I mean, it gave you goosebumps. This was a proper standing ovation. Now players get applause when they leave the pitch, but this was different. This was a massive ovation. So Arda Güler is very quickly becoming, sort of the love child of this club. He really is very, very highly respected. He's in a great moment, and the crowd absolutely loves him. Camavinga came in for Arda in the 73rd. Now in the 83rd, we had more changes. Bini and Brahim came off. Mastantuono and Fran came in. And then in the 87th minute, Asencio went off and Gonzalo came in. Now, look, in terms of takeaways, this is a very, very frustrating year, I have to say, because we're still unconvincing. There's something about the squad that is unconvincing. The players are great. We create chances. Sometimes we look really good, but something is missing. There's something is missing in terms of continuity, in terms of efficiency. It's really, really strange. I think we really need to work on finishing our plays, because I know that this is still work in progress, but if we don't get better at finishing our plays, we're going to struggle, because we do tend to struggle against bigger teams. We've seen that so far with Xabi Alonso. And going into the Clasico, I don't know how I feel. I feel okay, but I don't feel great, to be perfectly honest. The last 15 minutes of the match, we looked a little bit lost without Arda. I think that when Arda Güler is not on the pitch, I think our attack kind of loses structure a little bit. We kind of all of a sudden we're devoid of ideas. I think his presence is really, really important. We do continue to look vulnerable when the other team attacks, when Juve comes at us. Last night we looked vulnerable. This is still something that really worries me. So I don't know why with 11 victories out of 12 matches I still feel like something isn't right. We look, kind of vulnerable. This also, I have to say that, Juventus really should have scored if it weren't for an absolutely exceptional Militao. But like I say, our attack seems totally dependent on Arda Güler, and thank God that we have him. Heading into the Clasico, this leaves me with a lot of doubts. I think that this team feels a little bit porous. It feels a little bit out of sync. I do think that we look vulnerable. So I'm a little bit concerned going into that. We generate all these chances, but we have a really, really hard time scoring goals. Look, in terms of individual players, I'll give you my thoughts. Courtois, was absolutely incredible. This guy is always there when you need him. He had some absolutely spectacular saves last night. The one-on-one against Vlahovic was incredible. He is the best goalkeeper in the world, and I'm so happy that he renewed. And I think he still has many, many good years left as a goalkeeper. Okay, Carreras, I thought, I'd probably give him a 7. He had a slow start, but as the minutes went on, I think he sort of picked up the pace. Started to push up forward a little bit more. I thought he was better without the ball than with the ball last night. I think he defended well, but was a little bit sloppy in possession. Okay, Asensio, I think had a pretty good night. Okay, though he did have a couple of mistakes, but he recovered on those mistakes very well. So he did I think correct any mistakes that he made. But I think he was pretty good in the air. He looked sort of focused. He looked pretty quick. I think he had a pretty decent match. Okay, Militao, I thought, in addition to Arda Güler, I think Militao would have been man of the match. I'd give him a sort of 9. It's very, very hard to. I don't know how this player has come back so strong after 2 knee operations. We're not talking meniscus. We're talking ACLs, like both knees. But he has come back and has done incredibly well. Has he lost a tiny fraction of speed? Possibly. 5 years ago, would he have caught up with Vlahovic? Probably. But he had an absolutely incredible night. He was everywhere, and I don't think that we would have won that match last night without Militao. I think it was absolutely spectacular. Okay, Fede. Look, Fede. I would say I'd probably give him like a 6. I mean, he hates to play in that position. You can just see it on his face. But he does do a good job because he's just a great natural defender, a very physical player. He defended sort of decently. There was a play at the end of the match when he had an opportunity to shoot and didn't. And the Bernabeu was really pissed at that because he had a great angle. There was nobody in front of him. And instead of shooting, and he's got a gun. Everybody knows his right foot is just nuclear. But instead of shooting, he passed the ball to the right, and I think that was just a huge mistake. I think that the whole stadium was expecting him to shoot, and he should have, because I think he would have scored. But Fede, I say overall had an okay game. I'd give him something like a 6, but he was fairly solid defensively. Okay, Tchouaméni, I would say a 7. He's been very consistent this season, very good in the air. I think stole plenty of balls. I think he was just consistent, alert, pretty good in his outlet play. I think he's having a very, very good season. I think his second half was a little bit weaker. I think the first half he was a little bit better, but I think overall had a good match. Okay, Arda Güler, I would have to give him a 9. I just think Arda at the moment is mission critical. All of our play comes from this kid. All of our creativity, all of our ideas come from this. He has become the playmaker in this squad, and he's also doing something that I don't remember him doing as much in the past, which is he's defending so much, he's backtracking so much, he's pressing, he's stealing balls, he's getting a lot better at stealing balls from rivals. But his in possession, he's magnificent. His vision, his sense of timing is incredible. I think Arda Güler right now is absolutely critical in this squad, and I think we have so much to thank him for. So Arda, I think takes the cake. That's why the thumbnail I had to honor him, but I'd give him probably a 9. Okay, Jude. I think kind of hard to say, maybe a 6 or a 7. I think his first half was kind of sloppy. But I think in the second half he was excellent. I mean, I think Jude really was a sort of a match of two different sides. I think the first half he was definitely slow, sloppy, looked a bit out of place. But in the second half he really looked excellent in possession, had some incredible runs, good passing. He was a lot more present. So I think overall Jude had a pretty decent match. Vini, man, Vini, I'd give him a 5. And you guys might get pissed off at me and tell me whatever you want in the comment section, but he disappears for like really long periods of time. And yes, the play of the goal was fantastic, and that's what Vini can do. And like in one split second, he can just change the game. But the truth is, he just disappeared. Like for most of the first half, where the hell was Vini? So I don't know. I think Vini is still quite inconsistent. I think yesterday he had a mediocre match, with the exception of that one play. But that's what Vini brings you, that kind of the ability to just in one instant change the match. But what we need from Vini is more consistency. We need more team play and more consistency because, like I say, he feels too isolated too much of the time and doesn't participate enough. Okay, Kylian, I didn't think had a particularly good game. I think he tried. He sort of tried to run into space and tried to find space, but he just looked a little bit disconnected. I don't know why we had a harder time finding Kylian yesterday than in other situations. He did make a couple of mistakes as well. There were a couple of situations I think he should have finished, but missed. So he wasn't quite as precise in terms of finishing. So I think Mbappe probably had I would say a mediocre match yesterday. I'd maybe give him a 5 or something like that. Okay, Brahim was really good. I thought Brahim was very active, very dangerous. He was one of the few players that was really creating stuff, making things happen. I'm happy that he started. I suspected that it might be the case, but I think he brought a lot of dynamism to our play, and I think made a huge effort trying to create things up front, took people on, very alert, tried to connect with Kylian. I think he was very active. I think Brahim had a pretty good game. I would say after Arda and Militao, I think Brahim was probably the best player on the pitch after those two. So that's my view on the players. But like I say, guys, the Clasico is going to be very tricky, and we are struggling against good sides that know how to counter and know how to attack. We do look vulnerable when other teams counter us. I think we really need to press harder. We need to recover balls more quickly. Barca will be very, very tricky. Barca is a very good team in possession. They have unbelievable, skillful players. If we try to defend in a low block, they will get through it because they have the players to get through it. I think against Barca, it's going to be very, very important that when we are defending and they are in possession, the moment that we steal, the one vulnerability that Barca has this year is that defensive high line. And if you've watched the Barca matches this year, they're getting caught out so much. They're getting caught out so easily. Sevilla could have put 10 past them. Girona could have put 10 past them. They're winning matches, but by the sort of skin of their teeth. I mean, by very small margins and a lot of luck. They don't look particularly good either. But we do have to be careful. They have a lot of quality. Now, going into this, I have the worries that I've just mentioned, and I'll say it for the last time. We're creating, but we're not finishing our plays, and that has me very, very concerned. But anyway, I'll do a preview prior to the Clasico, which of course I'll be attending as well. But I'll give you guys my thoughts in another video ahead of the Clasico. But again, those are my thoughts on Juve last night. Let me know what you guys think, because I really enjoy and appreciate your comments. You guys say some really interesting things. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thanks for joining me as always. Love you guys. And as always and forever, a la Madrid.